I've got my reading glasses on. Hey, hello, audience. This is Pam here. Thank you for coming today. I'm super duper excited for today's talk. I have three local bookstore people from the Seattle area here to talk to us today. We all know that there's a ton of reasons to shop local, and we also know that local stores and bookstores are also struggling. We're all struggling, but what we're going to do today is talk about how we can help our local bookstores, because I always think that bookstores, in particular libraries, are an indicator of how healthy a community is. And so I want to make sure my community is healthy, and I want to help you all make sure that your communities are healthy. So let us bring in our guests today. Hello, everyone. Hi. So
Hey there.
we have James from Madison Books. We have Tegan. Am I pronouncing it right, Tegan? Tegan from
Yes, Tegan, thank you.
From Queen Anne Books, and Suzanne from Ballast Book Company. So I'm going to start off by asking our guests to tell us just a little bit about who you are and what bookstore you're at. And well, we'll start with just that to start with. Give us your name and where you are. James, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. I'm James Crossley. I manage Madison Books in the Madison Park neighborhood of Seattle. And I have been doing that here for, I guess, about a year and a half. I've worked in bookstores in the Seattle area for a long time. But I helped start this new one up fairly recently. We celebrated our 1-year anniversary during lockdown, which was an interesting thing. But we already feel like an established part of the neighborhood, and we're really excited to be here. I should mention we're one of the smaller stores you will run into. Someone once compared us to the size of an old-fashioned barbershop, which I kind of like. But we have a little bit of everything. People are surprised when they come in how extensive it is.
Fantastic. Okay, Tegan. Oops, Tegan. I'm going to you next, and we're going to go to you next.
Hi, I'm Tegan Tigani. Can you hear me okay through my mask?
Sort of, and I'm just messing up my videos there. There we go. Okay, sort of, but go ahead.
Well, I am in the store at Queen Anne Book Company this morning, and I am masked up for safety. I have been with Queen Anne Book Company since it opened in 2013. I'm the children's book buyer, but I'm also a general bookseller. But I've been selling books in the Queen Anne community since 1999.
Excellent. Okay. And Suzanne.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Droppert. I own Ballast Book Company, which is in Bremerton, Washington, which is a ferry ride across from Seattle. We might be the next site of James at Madison, because we're only about 750 square feet, and we're generally a little bit of everything, and trying to bring the love of to Bremerton. I've owned the store about 5 years. We owned a different bookstore for 3 years, so we're just trying to bring the love of reading to the community there.
Excellent. Okay, now I've got us all back on the screen. I'm still learning all this technology stuff. So thank you all. And I want to start now with I'm going to go into a little bit about the why we want to shop locally. I'm just going to do this real quick. I've got some slides here. Local businesses create 4.6 times more impact and are 25 times more likely to donate to local charities. That's our first slide. Benefit 1, you benefit from expertise. At a local store, you're as much as 3 times as likely to discover something new. In places with more local businesses, there are stronger social ties and more participation in civic affairs. You strengthen your local economy. Compared to Amazon, independent retailers create twice as many jobs for the same amount of revenue. And you cast a vote for the American dream. And we're recording this on Monday, by the way, which is the day before the election. So this won't go up until the 8th or so. But right now we've all got elections on the mind. But places with more small businesses have less income inequality. So that's our really brief rundown on why we need to shop locally, including with bookstores. And I want to ask each of you to tell me a little bit about why books, because I'll tell you, I have a series of mystery books in which my main character is a library director, and in it she talks about how if you go into a library or a bookstore, same idea, it's like you're in a room with thousands of brains. Like you have everything is possible in a bookstore. All of humanity exists within a bookstore. Everything people have ever thought, everything people have ever wished, dreamed, past, present, future, like it's all there. And so to me, like a bookstore represents humanity. So clearly a community needs humanity to survive. So that's kind of where my thought on that. But James, you tell me about what books mean to you and why it matters, why books matter to you personally, just on a really personal level.
Wow, that's a big question. I mean, I guess I have to start by saying I can't really imagine doing anything else. I'm not sure at this point I'm fit for anything else. But I do, I guess relating to what you said, books, I mean, we're in the retail business. We have to sell books. We sell a product. But books are not just a product. The whole transaction and the fact that we have to take money for them is not what it's all about. I mean, nobody gets into this business because they think, oh, I'm going to have a cushy life and retire early, right? It's just, it's a calling. Not to make us sound grand or anything, but it's just what we have to do. Books are ideas. Books, like you said, represent humanity. Every single book in the store has a person behind it, and a person you get a sense of by reading their thoughts and sharing them with other people, and hopefully talking with someone else when you purchase that book and learn about it and everything else. So yeah, not to sound too highfalutin, but it really, I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, people who sell socks probably love socks. People who sell cars probably love cars. But for us, it's not about the sale. It's about the books and the people. I think more so than in almost any other line of retail.
I have to agree. All right, Tegan, I'm going to go to you. What do you think?
One of the things I've been enjoying particularly about books lately is the way when you open a book, you're in a totally different world. You can be using it to learn more about our own world, but also you get to set the pace, you get to set the scene, you get to set the characters even. Their descriptions, but you get to cast it all in your head. And I feel like that empowerment and that empathy that we gain from reading is particularly important right now, but it's good in everyday life.
I totally agree. And Suzanne?
So I'm a little bit like James. I've been in the business a long time. I opened my first bookstore in 1996 because I loved reading, and I thought, what did I want to do when I grow up? Not that I've grown up yet, I'm getting older. But I just love sharing that I finished a book. I love sharing it with people, having a conversation. And then turning readers on to a new genre or an author. It's kind of fun, and it's see kids light up and see a book and want to read more. That's really what it's all about,
Totally agree with all of those things. So we have sort of a dual challenge right now, in that in general there's a whole challenge to bookstores and to local stores in general, and then now we have the added layer of the pandemic on top of it. So let's start with just talking in general, not pandemic, but in general. Talk to me about the challenges that indie bookstores are facing non-2020s. Tegan, let's start with you.
Well, I would say we have always been facing for quite a while now the big monolith that is facing so many small businesses. I'll go ahead and say it. It's Amazon. We have a lot of customers who work for Amazon and still support us. But I think a lot of people, when they think convenience, when they think online shopping, when they think to ship something, independent bookstores weren't their first thought. I think we're starting to change that and starting to help people realize that we can do everything book-wise, but with a very personal touch. But it has been difficult because we don't get the tax breaks. We don't get the publisher discounts. We don't have the clout of a big online retailer. We have a community where we pay rent, where we pay living wages, and we take care of each other. And that's expensive. So the margins are really tight.
Yeah. Suzanne, talk to me now about the pandemic. What has the pandemic brought to indie bookstores?
Well, I think it's made all of us indie bookstores up our game online since we were closed, especially here in the Seattle area for 2 or 3 or more. We all have to learn how to navigate our own bookstore online and really promote online to all the different social medias, talk about it to people. And, it's been tough because the A button comes up for everyone. And you just hope that once you reach a couple people, they see how convenient it is to shop with you, that they continue to support your store. And it's really no matter what community you can shop, since we're mailing all over the country, you can shop any store, but you really hope the local community and town shops with you.
So, James, do you think that in some way, because I like to find silver linings, in some ways that the pandemic, there may be silver linings, it has challenged us all to learn how to do more things in a way that helps us to reach out more? And is that true for bookstores? And if so, how?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as Suzanne just said, we've had to step up a lot of different things that we did a little bit before and now do a lot of. I mean, we've always emphasized and still try to that bookstores are a place. Having a physical space that people can go to connect is vitally important. But when that wasn't possible at all, and it's still only possible in a limited way, we can do all those other things, shipping things, home delivery, putting things online, and finding ways to share what we know and love about books through the internet instead of just talking over the counter. We at Madison Books, for example, started doing a lot of online author events. Hey, kind of like this. And actually, I mean, I never would have thought of us as a very event-driven store, being a very small space and being part of a community where there are just so many options for people to do that. But now, big name authors, we've brought to people, John Grisham, who never would have been in our neighborhood before, but now we can help, bring him to our neighborhood, in effect. So it's been a steep learning curve, and honestly, none of that is our favorite thing to do. Our favorite thing to do is just be in the bookstore and have people come in, but we can do all those other things and are doing them quite well.
Well, and I just have to say, I love reading the newsletters and following the posts from both of your stores. And I think that that's another great way you're staying connected to all of us and keeping us a community. Thank you.
Thank you.
So when I was talking with James about getting this organized, and thank you, by the way, to James for gathering us all together, James said to me that October is the new December in the bookstore world, and here we are, November 2nd. So we're already past November. We're already past October. But James, can you tell me again, tell the world what that means? What does October is a new December mean in the bookstore world?
Well, it's a way of stressing the importance of early shopping this year in particular. For reasons COVID-related and otherwise, the ability of publishers and every part of the book supply chain, and including us, to get you the books you want is compromised. I mean, last year, there was an example, there was a hot biography. Well, it wasn't initially a hot biography. It was a book published that was, I don't think, expected to be a big seller, but then the New York Times decided it was one of the 10 best books of the year, and suddenly everyone wanted it. And that publisher was not able to meet demand for it because they had already used all their resources to publish other big books. So that's always been the case here and there. But this year, there are fewer printing plants in the US than ever before because of consolidation and other things. And so if people suddenly decide they want more of something unexpected, those just may not be available. So the message is, if you see it and you want it, buy it now and start thinking about the holidays sooner than later.
Today. People should start thinking about it today. Suzanne, tell me about how, and this now we're talking pandemic, because I want to get this video out to people now to help you now. So how is your store available now to people to buy physical books? We're going to get into audio and ebook and all that in a moment, but physical books, how can people interact with Ballast Book Company?
So we're, being a small store, we do, everybody's been great wearing a mask. We wear masks, we have hand sanitizers. So people have been very good about coming in and asking if they can come in. And we try to put out socially what books we're reading, what books we've finished. We have shelf talkers coming in. We do have curbside we take out. You don't want to come in. We've really tried to, we've partnered with the coffee shop Hot Java right next door about a book and a coffee, just trying to support our local community and other stores for shout outs. We've worked with the schools on school orders, even though the schools are still remote. So we're really trying to branch out a little bit differently and more, I shouldn't say differently, more, during the pandemic, to remind everybody that we're here, that you can still shop with us either online and pick up or come actually in the store.
So at Ballast, I can shop in the store in certain hours. I can go online and you do ship out, and you also have curbside service. Curbside?
Yes, and online gift certificates. You can get a gift certificate in the store as well as online.
Perfect. And I have to say, curbside service is one of my favorite things of the pandemic. I love curbside service. It just brings me everything. Okay, Tegan, tell me about what people can do at Queen Anne. How can I interact physically with the physical book at Queen Anne?
So at Queen Anne Book Company, you can get recommendations over the phone or email from us. You can shop through our website. And then you can pick things up at our store, either at the front door, or now we're even open for shopping in the store. We're limiting the number of people in the store so that it's very safe and you don't bump into anybody unexpectedly, because, when there are stacks of books around, you have to watch your corners. But we are also doing neighborhood delivery for free. We have someone who goes out every day and drops books off at our neighbors' homes. We're shipping around the country. So physical books, you can get them. But as James said, with October being the new December, also just think about shipping early.
Right. And James, Madison Books.
Yeah, same way. We did have a period in the spring where we were dark and closed to visitors entirely, although even during that period, we were still able to do home delivery, like a Tegan store, and ship, and we continue to do that. But we are having shoppers browse in-store again. Since we are a small space, one party at a time. People can book appointments, or they can just do walk-ins if there are no appointments in the way. So basically, all the options that we ever had are there. People can come here, people can call, people can email, people can order directly online for pickup or delivery or mailing anywhere in the country.
Excellent. Okay, audiobooks and ebooks. Then this is something that I will admit I do not know much about with indie stores at all. So can I get audiobooks? And let's just do audiobooks to start with. Can I get audiobooks from independent bookstores? Tegan, you look really excited, so let's start with you.
Well, I love that we partner with a local Seattle company called Libro FM, and they do audiobooks. You download the Libro FM app on your phone or your tablet, and that's free. You can buy books a la carte, so each title by title as an audiobook. And then you can also sign up for a subscription. So I actually signed up so that I get credits every month and I can use them. I get a discount on more books that I buy, and I can even give audiobooks. So my sister in Georgia, I can send her books for the whole family to listen to just because I know her email address.
So that's all it takes is an email address. And it's
Yep.
the same.
And then you sign up for an account with Libro FM through our website.
Okay. And James, is that the same for Madison Books?
Yeah, exactly. Libro has been a great partner, wonderful customer service, ease of use. We love what they do, and people are always surprised to hear that. I find myself, I always feel obnoxious doing it, but people like you, I guess, too, are surprised to realize, oh, a little bookstore can also sell me an audiobook. It's like, sure, just as easy as from those other guys, and better in lots of ways.
Excellent. And then Suzanne, I'm going to guess it's the same for you, but first just tell me if that's correct. And then second, tell me about ebooks.
So I was going to say, I personally love audiobooks. I listen to probably 1 or 2 audiobooks a week. So I'm a big fan. I usually ask everyone that comes in the bookstore, ask them if they listen to audiobooks. There's a page on the Libro app that says sale audiobooks. And if people have never tried one, I direct them there and say, it's usually under $10. And it's a great way to try an audiobook. Some people are very leery. And then again, we also love switching from that A company to Libro. And so that's a great satisfaction. I know most of us sell ebooks. We either sell it on Hummingbird, it's an app, or we sell it on Kobo. And it's a you can do it on your phone or your and listen to or read ebooks that way. So 2 different applications.
So just because I'm your average person who doesn't know a lot about all this. So for audio, I go to a Libro app, yeah. Libro.
Yes, .fm.
.fm, and that's an app that I can get through the App Store.
Yes.
Okay, and then for ebooks, Kobo, Kobo, or Hummingbird.
It's Hummingbird. I think it might come out My Must Reads, but both of those, Kobo and My Must Reads, are with indie bookstores. And again, they're all Kobo, Hummingbird, My Must Reads, and Libro. All are free apps on whatever device you might have.
Okay. And because we're in the gifting time, so you said I can gift audiobooks. Can I also gift ebooks? How do I do that? James, how do I gift an ebook?
Well, in something like the same way, our store being new is still not set up for ebook sales, although we do physical books and audiobooks. But most places that do that can be an option as well. I mean, the best way to find out about these is to go to the bookstore of your choice. There's probably a link on their website that talks about ebooks or audiobooks, or you can call and ask about it. And hey, get to talk to a real person while you do it. Imagine that. And there's always a little hurdle to get set up, because you have to create an account and all that. But once you do that, you're affiliated with your bookstore, and every time you're making a purchase through there, you're benefiting them, making sure that they're staying where they are and keeping their lights on and keeping it in business.
Is there a website somewhere or something that tells me, let's say I have a sister in Kentucky and I want to shop locally in Kentucky this fall. How do I find out where I can buy a book in Kentucky, local bookstore, so that it just goes 10 miles from her bookstore to her house? I don't have a sister in Kentucky, but just let's say I did. How do I find a local to the person I want to ship to store? Tegan.
Well, go ahead.
Well, there's a wonderful site called indiebound.org, indiebound.org, and you can enter their zip code. So if you've been shipping packages to them, hopefully it's right in your phone, their zip code. You check the zip code and it shows you with a map to tell you how close there's an independent bookstore to them. And that can take you right to the website of the independent bookstore. So that's a great way. There's also bookshop.org, which maybe, James, do you want to talk about that? Because I think you've been using that really well.
Oh, yeah, I have. Bookshop is a new company that launched this year specifically to work in partnership with indie bookstores and provide them with a good web alternative. For a place like me, it's a lifesaver. The effort of maintaining our own online catalog and fulfillment, frankly, would be kind of prohibitive. And Bookshop does that for us, and for many other bookstores. I mean, their growth has been explosive this year, and during the pandemic, the worst of the pandemic months, a real godsend. They're wonderful to work with. They're not a nonprofit, but they're the next closest thing. They're what they call a B Corp, a benefit corporation. So they are not beholden to shareholders. They're just beholden to the mission of helping bookstores sell books online. And so the amount that they take enough to keep their their service running, and we benefit from them almost as much as we do from someone just walking into the store to buy a book off the shelf. So it's really wonderful. They likewise, if you go to bookshop.org, you can order a book from them, and they share a percentage of the profits with all independent bookstores across the country. And they will direct you to affiliate yourself with a specific bookstore to benefit that one even more specifically. So they, like IndieBound, have a great map for that, basically.
Okay, so IndieBound and bookshop.org. And actually, I was going to ask about bookshop.org because there was, I don't know if you saw, a huge article in The Guardian yesterday about Bookshop. And I was fascinated because they said in February they did $50,000 worth of business all of February. And then in March, they were doing $50,000 a day. And then by June, they were doing $1 million a day, which is $1 million going to local bookstores instead of to other companies that we know about. But
I will interrupt to say, if you go to their site, at the top of every page, you will see the amount that is going into the coffers of local businesses.
that's so
And it rises every minute, which is wonderful.
that's amazing. My question is, so James, I know for you that's where we want to go because you don't have your own shipping. But for example, Suzanne, tell me, should I first check my local bookstore to see if they have their own shipping, and then talk about that. How do I best benefit my bookstore?
So at Ballast Book Company, we do have our own website, but we also have a page on Bookshop. So we've received money from Bookshop as well as just shipping and seeing our own web. And part of it is we changed the name of the bookstore to Ballast Book Company. It's people getting the name out there so people know where we are. And it's just a constant, workaround to remind everybody that we're there in that town. But again, as you say, you can ship anywhere in the United States. And we do ship, all three of us, I'm sure, all over the place.
Tegan, yeah, I saw Tegan wanted to talk.
I just wanted to say for our store, of course, we would love to have you come through qabookco.com because then we get to see your name show up in our work queue. This morning, I got here early before we were recording so that I could see all the people who'd placed orders overnight and print out that order. And then my colleague and I are going to be working on those this morning. And we love when you shop through us directly, it gives us an opportunity to move books off of our shelves into your hands. We love that we get to connect with you personally. And we love that we have a little more control in the sense of we're the ones who create the tracking number if we're shipping it. We can just hand it to you at the door. And maybe you will come and pick it up, come into the store and buy something else, of course. That's always the dream. So we would always prefer you come to our website first. But if you're sharing links like maybe on social media and you would have linked to another national online link before, think about maybe linking to bookshop.org, and that way all of the independent bookstores will benefit. But of course, we love to have you visit our website first.
Excellent. So people should always go to the independent bookstore first to find out what they can do direct, and then branch out if need be. So I don't want to take much more of your time because I know we're all very busy because bookstores are fabulous places. But I want to first give you a chance to tell me anything else you want to talk about with how people can help your bookstore during this pandemic, and just be as broad as you want, from tweeting about. I one time recently tweeted out all my favorite book recommendations, and I linked to each I did a link to Madison. I did a link to Queen Anne with my, here's the book and here's the link on your own website. So anything you can think of that we can do to help you get through the pandemic and through the holiday season in a pandemic. And then after that, we're going to go to some book recommendations. I gave you guys a heads up on some recommendations. I'm excited to hear what we're talking about. So, okay, I made these slides. So I'm going to go to put the Madison Bookstore slide up, and James, talk to us about how we can help Madison Books.
Sure. Buying books, like Tegan said, going directly to the bookstore and saying, here's the book I want, here's the book I want for myself or for a gift. That's great. Even if you can't buy a book, when sharing news about books or talking about books, again, as Tegan said, use the link either directly to your local bookstore or their bookshop site or IndieBound or wherever it is, rather than the alternative. Share on social media if there's a tweet from the bookstore you like. Share that. Sign up for their newsletter, or tell someone else to sign up for their newsletter. Whatever you can do, even if I know it's a hard time for everybody. So if you're not in a position to be buying books right now, do those things as well. We love it, and you know that every time you're doing it, you're bringing some joy to an actual human being who really appreciates it in a way I think some big company doesn't.
Excellent. Suzanne?
Yeah, I agree with all of what James said. I mean, to come in the store, shop locally, shop our website. There's great gifting through Libro.fm, the audiobooks. I mean, obviously, since I'm an audio fan, that I would suggest that. I know some indie bookstores are doing book bundles with like kids' books and everything. We, of course, love to just hand you a stack of what our favorites, because we all have our favorites. And we're looking the whole social media. We would love more people to follow our bookstores and all of the platforms. We'd love authors to link and have a link to the bookstores or to Bookshop or to IndieBound. We'd love more authors to do that and not just have the link to that A company. Just to get out our message of supporting your community, because we're in everyone's communities. We're there. We're trying to bring the love of reading, and we all carry games too, and some side box game puzzles.
Yeah, who doesn't have enough puzzles? Okay, Tegan.
One of the things I would ask, especially for this holiday season, is that our customers stay flexible as they're shopping. One of the things that's great about working with an independent bookstore with knowledgeable staff is that we should be able to give you great recommendations if the bestseller that you were thinking was the perfect gift is no longer in stock. So please stay flexible and stay open to suggestions. The other thing I would suggest, especially for this year, is to help us all stay safe. I think as much as you can be limiting contact, staying safe, making sure that you wear your masks properly, limiting your time browsing, so coming in with a browsing focus rather than, we would all love to have you just come in and hang out for hours the way we used to. But right now, that's not as safe as we would hope. So to limit your browsing. Another idea is to create your wish list with some of our stores. On our website, you can create a wish list. Some stores you can just call up and they'll make an index card and they'll check things off for you. We really want to make sure that as you're shopping this holiday season and you're putting together wish lists, that we're a big part of it. And then finally, I want to say gift certificates. We have online and in-store gift certificates. And there is really nothing better you can do than just give a little money. And so we would love to help your recipients find the perfect book with them, but we're also just happy to send out a gift certificate this holiday season.
Perfect. All right, so let's get into some recommendations. I'm so excited. I think that the most efficient way is for each of you to just give me your full list of, rather than going back and forth. So, Suzanne, tell me. I asked about mysteries. I asked about young adult. I can't remember what all I asked, but tell me some of your favorite books that you're loving right now.
So I'm going to say that, so we have a mystery book club. We have virtual book clubs to the bookstore. And we've had people from all over the country join the book clubs, which is awesome. Mystery book club is one of them. And one of my favorite authors her name is Megan Golden. And she wrote The Night Swim and Escape Swim. And just the night swim told in a podcast and in a trial, and it's are you guilty or not guilty? Just really creative. Loved it. I of course love Louise Penny. I don't know who doesn't love Louise Penny. Oh my God, I just love her. Young, I loved Don't Ask Me Where I'm From. It's from the inner city in Boston, going out to a wealthy school, and people keep asking her. She looks and acts different. Great read. And I also love the fantasy book Cruel Prince by Holly Black. One of my favorite here. It's called Migrations. I'm not sure if I'm going to spell her name right. It's Charlotte McConaughey, and it starts in Iceland. It's after, I don't know, it's going to say global warming issues. It's so quickly written, and you start in Ireland, Iceland, and go down to the Antarctic. Just love it. A middle grade reader, a local Bremerton author, Cattywampus by Ash Vanderloo, and it's Van Otterloo. It's with some witches, and it's got friendship and family. It's just a really great read.
Excellent. Can you repeat the name of the Megan? There was the first one you mentioned. You were kind of cutting in and out. The first author, the mystery.
Golden, Goldin, and she's only got 2 books, so she's fairly new, and I just love both of them.
Excellent.
It's kind of fun to find something new. I can talk for hours about this.
Which is why we love local bookstores. Can't wait till we can get back. Okay, James, your turn.
Oh, sure. You start off with mysteries, so I'll do the same. There's a writer out of BC, Canada named Iona Wishaw, who has a great series of mysteries starring Lane Winslow, female detective, not a professional detective. She is someone who had been in clandestine services in the war in Europe. She's an English lady, but that's all behind her now. The war is over. She's settled down to a peaceful existence in a bucolic lakeside town in British Columbia. But then, of course, there's a murder, and she has to get involved. I think they're wonderful, kind of a combination of Louise Penny and Jacqueline Winspear. Wonderful period details, great character development, a real, human character-driven mystery series. We really like her a lot. What else do I have here? A book that came out just recently here, but is a re-release of a 1975 National Book Award winner called J.R. by William Gaddis. Big fat book. This is that doorstop kind of thing for someone who does want, a little bit of a challenge to their reading, but not too much. It's a wonderfully funny, hilariously funny book, which covers so many things. But the main focus of it is a young boy who starts a financial empire from his hallway payphone in his school. Starts with one, junk piece of stock and parlays that into this huge fortune. So it's this tremendous satire on America and capitalism, and it's more prescient now than it was back when it came out. There is a book for middle grade readers, came out a few years ago that I like a lot, from a Seattle area author called The Many Reflections of Miss Jane Deming, which is kind of a Little House on the Prairie for our part of the world, connected to the true story of the women who were recruited from the East Coast to move to the frontier mining logging town of Seattle and kind of class the place up. And there's a young girl in there who's the stepdaughter of a Civil War widow who comes with stars in her eyes, having been told Seattle's a wonderful place to be. She's envisioning palm trees and sunshine. And of course, it's rain and mud, but she really comes to love the area. And I mean, it's a great story on its own. And if you're from this part of the world, you will really connect to it. A book that's kind of a favorite around here that's come out in paperback just recently is Underland by Robert McFarlane. He's a writer of landscape and history and science and personal adventure, and this book combines all those things in a wonderful way. He's just such a good writer who gets better from book to book. And if you like things about the natural world, you like things about science, you like things about history, and you like the way human beings relate to all those things, you will really fall in love with this book. And I'll give you one last one because the holidays are upon us. We just talked about that. This is another older book. You can see on here. It says this was the 50th anniversary edition. Russell Hoban's The Mouse and His Child, which is the story of a father and son, wind-up mice who are purchased as a toy one Christmas, used and discarded and kind of find a new life for themselves. This is such a good book, for a kid, but adults reading this will find it, like one of the deepest existential fables you will find. It's funny and heartwarming and so smart. So I love that book.
Can you say the title again? It's hard to...
Sorry, this one was The Mouse and His Child by Russell Hoban.
Okay, because your video is a little bit blurry, but The Mouse and His Child. Excellent. And Tegan, We're on you.
Oh, it's so difficult to pick just a few to talk about, but I loved all the recommendations from both of you, Suzanne and James. Thank you. I'm going to go with a little bit of a crossover focus because I am our store's kids and young adult buyer. So I'm going to suggest some that maybe you wouldn't have thought of for your mystery. This is a book that debuted in the spring during lockdown. It's called The Silence of Bones by debut author June Her. And it is a fantastic mystery. It's historical, set in Korea in the 1800s. The main character is a young woman who's been sent from her rural village to the town to serve the police department. And this is a true historical detail that at the time, the police were not allowed to touch women's bodies, even if they were victims of a murder. So this main character has to touch a murder victim and becomes involved in the investigation. I love that it's a great murder mystery. It's fantastic setting, but it's also a great family story that she has her own family mysteries that she is investigating along the way. So fantastic read. It's marketed for young adults, but I think adults will enjoy it as well. Um, for a fantasy book, another one that came out during these times from another debut author. It's called Ray Bearer by Jordan Ifueko. And look at that cover. Holy moly. It is stunning epic fantasy. Unlike anything I'd ever read before, the main character has been raised in isolation, and she knows that her duty is to go and try out kind of in a competition to try to be one of the 12 people surrounding her king to protect him and help him lead. And she doesn't quite know that maybe she is also meant to assassinate him. So there's a lot of fate and family and chosen family and decision and magical powers and just absolutely stunning. It does leave you a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm hoping for more from that author. Um, I'm going to share one of my favorite recent middle grade books for young readers. This is called Twins. This is by Varian Johnson, who also did that wonderful book, The Great Green Heist, that was like Ocean's 11 for middle schoolers. This is his first graphic novel, and he did it with the artist Shannon Wright. And it's so much fun. It's a very realistic story about twins who are navigating their own identity and middle school. You know, there are those mean girl things to deal with, and sometimes you are competing with your own sister. So I thought it was really fantastic. I think it'll appeal to a lot of readers. Um, and oh gosh, I'm just going to do one last one. This is one of my favorite books this season. This is Skunk and Badger by Amy Timberlake, and it has illustrations throughout by John Klassen. It's a chapter book. So it's kind of just like a step up from Frog and Toad sort of thing. But it makes a great family read aloud. The two characters are kind of unlikely roommates and possibly friends. There's a lot of great dialogue to read aloud. So if you like to do family read alouds, you get to do a lot of fun voices. So it's a little bit like a step down from The Wind in the Willows and a step up from Frog and Toad. And I just adore it.
Fantastic. Oops. There we go. It's just fascinating to me as I'm hearing each of you talk about your books. I'm like, oh, this is what I miss. I miss like this interaction with human beings talking about things they love. And this is and that's, we can do it here on Skype, but it's just the four of us. And to be able to do that in person again is a dream that we'll get to. But also we can't do it if we don't have our local bookstores there. So we need to make sure that we support you guys to make sure you're still there when we can finally go outside again. And when it's not dark at 3 o'clock in the afternoon as it is now. But we'll get through it. So So grateful for all of you. Thank you for this. But I asked you also to, because I'm trying to focus on kindnesses. And so I asked each of you to think about a kindness that you have witnessed or experienced or something that you've done that was kind. You can give me that too. It doesn't have to be huge, but I just want to help myself and anyone else remember that there's so much good and so many good people in the world. And I've got 3 of them right here, and you guys are all fantastic. So I'll start with my kindness that I appreciate is just that you guys took this time to be with me, and your recommendations for everyone are so great. Thank you all. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. So I appreciate that kindness. Suzanne, let's start with you.
So a kindness to, I guess, to the bookstore is, again, loving this conversation and getting the word out to shop indie bookstores. So I love that kindness. You have people come in and they say, you know, and this is almost every day you hear this, they say, you're so glad you're here, you're doing well. And really just the act of kindness of people asking, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Can we help you with anything? And we've been doing that with our neighbors here. You know, we're distant. People have been helping me with my garden because, you know, it's out of control. You know, and trying to help other people if they need help in their garden, just to go and help people, just physically mask up, distant, help people, and ask however.
Yeah.
It's really to ask people.
Absolutely. James?
Maybe tomorrow, really ask. Tomorrow, really ask people how.
Tomorrow. We're going to get through it. Tomorrow is, for people watching this later, tomorrow is election day. So.
Oh, sorry, yes.
No, but I mean, you know, all right. James?
Yes, we will all have to be very kind to each other. Yeah, as Suzanne said, there have been so many moments like that at the bookstore. I know just yesterday, customer came by, wonderful customer, and who I know has been basically in isolation much of the time and has not come out to do many things, but she wanted to come here and check in, and she felt safe here, and I felt so good about doing that. And also, I guess at home, Halloween, which was of course a very strange time. My kids didn't really get to do the usual Halloween things that they get to do, but we had candy at home, and seeing my son negotiate candy trades in a very considerate way with his younger sister was really heartwarming.
Nice. Okay, Tegan?
Recently, we had a customer who was new to us because I think she was from California, ordered a book called The Art of Making Happy Memories to send by local delivery to someone who lived in our neighborhood. And I thought that was such a sweet thing. She included a note that said, I've been reading this and working hard on it myself. I wrote back to her and said, I hope you're making happy memories. Thank you for helping us do it. Thank you for spreading love through our bookstore. And the fact that she not only sent that gift, but then she wrote back to us to say, thank you. And just those little interactions, those kindnesses that keep snowballing mean so much to us in these days. And another thing, you know, because I can't stop at one, is a company started a fundraiser, or kind of, I guess it's a movement among the company employees that we have a Books to Prisoners program that you can donate books from a wish list of people who are incarcerated. And we have been getting orders every day of people donating books to people who are incarcerated, people who are in institutions and unable to get the books that they want otherwise. And that kindness every day has been making us happy and keeping our business afloat. So thank you.
That's huge. And that spreads beyond just the book. Like, that helps that person's heart and they feel kindness, and then, you know, that's amazing. All right. Well, thank you all so much. I'm going to go just remind people once more. Here's our benefit of the local businesses. Create 4.6 times more impact. A 10% shift to local creates all these impacts. So, and if you didn't catch how amazing these people are in this conversation, I don't know, you weren't paying attention, because just this kindness of interaction. And I think we probably all are so much more aware than we were 8 months ago of how much connection matters. And this is something you can't get from an online site, is this interaction with people who are so passionate. I'm so glad I'm recording this, because all your recommendations, I'm like, oh, I need that one for that person, and I would need that one for that person there, and all of them for me. So I'm so grateful, and everybody get out there and support our local independent bookstores however we can. Let's tweet links to either their own bookstores or to bookshop.org, and recommendations, and just this is a critical part of our community health, is our bookstores. So let's all do what we can to keep them here. Thank you all so much. I'm so grateful. And I'm going to end with just going to our little opening thing, and I'm going to have you guys hang around for 2 seconds while I do this, and then we'll say goodbye. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.